This right here is the most important laptop on the market right now, or at least the most important concept for laptops on the market right now. What is it? This is the Framework 13. You can see that right there. I've been using this laptop as a daily driver for honestly probably like 4, maybe 5, if not 6 months here. I actually picked this laptop up here, this 13-inch Framework, up locally, used. Fascinatingly, it came with Intel 11th gen processor. I upgraded it. Now it has an AMD 7000 series, so 7840U processor. Incredibly good processor. Huge upgrade on this laptop here. So why do I say this is the most important laptop on the market right now? Well, because it's upgradable. Right now, most consumers, when they're picking a laptop, just want something that has good specs and obviously doesn't cost a lot of money. The issue with only having those as your criteria is, for one thing, laptops and products in general, especially in the computer space, get outdated quickly. You do then, you could probably sell it for almost nothing or throw it in a closet, pick up a new one. So what you've done is you bought into this laptop for potentially a reasonably good price. Then you move on to the next laptop for a reasonably good price. However, you're buying and financing a brand new laptop every single time. This one here is the complete opposite of that. You buy this laptop here and you can upgrade parts of it as you go. The main board in here, the actual motherboard in this laptop, came as an 11th gen Intel. I bought it used on top of that for an incredibly good price. I took out that main board and I put in an AMD main board. The cool thing is that 11th gen Intel main board is not e-waste, it's not garbage. I turned it into a mini PC. Isn't that just super cool? So not only are we repurposing, recycling products, but maybe you don't even care about that because you're like anti-environment. Doesn't matter. Even if you're just looking at this from an economic standpoint, you get to actually repurpose this product into something else that's very useful, and your product that you already had gets upgraded for significantly lower cost. You also don't need to finance an entire huge laptop purchase in one go. You can upgrade little parts of the laptop as you go. Maybe you bought it with certain types of ports. You've decided, oh, I need to get myself a display port, literally a display port, but my laptop didn't have it. Well, just take the port out here and put in the display port. You've upgraded your laptop, and you can also swap as you go. I got this display port here because I don't need it all the time. I sat it on my shelf over there, and guess what? If I need it, I can pop one of these out and put the new one in. I have swappable ports on my laptop. Isn't that just the coolest thing? It's also customizable. You can see here that this has a gray bezel around it. You'll see in this video that I actually got it with a black bezel, and I've upgraded it. And so the whole concept of this laptop is that it's customizable and upgradable and more serviceable than like, oh, I can fix out, it's like some broken parts, or I can like swap out the Wi-Fi. The whole thing is replaceable. Everything. Every part of this laptop is replaceable. Keyboard, trackpad, the chassis itself, the screen, the bezels, inside, the RAM, the motherboard itself. All of it can be swapped in and out as needed. And a lot of the time, you're not just throwing out those parts. You're putting them into a mini PC or some other option. Grab yourself a busted shell off someone else. You have a motherboard, combine them, now you've got a laptop again. And Framework isn't just these aren't stagnant products from Framework. They're upgrading as they go. They actually upgraded the screen option on the 13. This is the original, which is actually a beautiful screen, but now you can get an even newer screen that's even nicer, 120 hertz version of this screen. Let's jump into this review here. This is truly, I think, a fantastic laptop. I've been daily driving this, like I said, for at least 5 months. I think it's been, I can't even remember, I lost track. It's been so long because it's an awesome, awesome laptop. And it's going to continue to be a laptop that I use all the time. Even if I go with bigger, thicker gaming laptops, this is still something that I use all the time. And I've been doing a lot of video editing on this for my channel, a lot. I was going to get it and just use it and do a review on it, but I realized that, just reviewing a laptop as it is, I mean, that's cool and everything, but I decided that I'm going to do a full upgrade in this laptop. Because here's the thing with these Framework laptops. You don't get stuck with the same laptop and use it until it basically is obsolete and then you toss it out or whatever. That's not the idea of these laptops here. These laptops are, for one thing, highly customizable and highly upgradable. The review part of this laptop will actually come after the upgrade, which is interesting because, I mean, yeah, that's the cool part. So I picked it up locally. The guy had used it, which is a nice, cool thing about this. The fact that, you can actually pick up these 11th gen from Framework. They have them from time to time for really low clearance price, which is fantastic. So you can certainly get that. Or, of course, you can pick up something like this locally. And it's not like you're stuck with it. You can upgrade it. Yeah, so this is the AMD main board here, 7840U. Very, very good CPU. Very, very good CPU. So that's going to be in there. You can see that there. They got a bezel. You can buy RAM from them. or you can buy your own, whatever. This is the framework RAM here, DDR5, 5600 megahertz, 32 gigabytes, awesome RAM. So there's a couple different bezel, 3 different bezel options here. They just sent over a bunch. I'll pick the color that I like. I don't remember which all the colors were. Yeah, there's gray, which just is gray. There's orange, which is kind of closer to that color. Not quite that vibrant, but closer to that. And there is a purple, kind of like a lilac purple. That's going to be very pretty. So they sent over those bezels. So there's some customizing you can do there. And because I'm cool, I went onto the D brand website, and they also have framework modifications type stuff. So they have skins for the top here. So I picked up a couple of them here. So it's not just that you're only getting your upgrades and your tweaks from framework, which is already sweet that you can do that. There's also companies like D brand here. Okay, and I also picked up some extras myself. Like I bought these. So I have HDMI, DisplayPort, USB-C, and an expansion card. I picked that up too. This is actually like a 1 terabyte expansion card. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go USB-C, USB-A, expansion card, this here, just to kind of see what it's like. They have bigger ones too, but I just want to test it, and smaller ones. And then I'm thinking maybe display or I'll do just a second USB-C, because these are full function USB-C. We'll see what I want to do here. So, took out the screws there on the bottom. You actually open it this way. There's a ribbon here you can just take out. It's just basic, just pop out like that. That's the keyboard and such gone. You can see here that we have the full mainboard in here. This is an Intel based mainboard, like I said, 11th gen. I actually did, because I got it used, I just was curious and I actually repasted it. So I took the thermal paste that was on there at stock and added some PTM 7950, which did actually drop the temperatures quite a bit. Okay, that's 5. Let's see any other ones. Oh, okay, that's it. If you ever want to take off the cooling unit, by the way, you just take off 1, 2, 3, and just pull it up. Basically, this, I don't even think that has to come up. Pull that off. You can repaste it if need be down the road. It's actually very simple. Okay, so that is going to have to come out because it's connected. Hopefully, I don't need to take the wires out. Oh, and there we go. There's an Intel mainboard. That's a 11th gen Intel mainboard. It's so cute. It's so cute. And they they went with a main board, like a motherboard main board, but it's not huge, which is nice. Right? So you're going to get not too much size. It's actually very, very similar, because I do love myself laptops, but I also love tinkering. That's the advantage of a desktop. You can tinker. Here we get the best of both worlds. So I'm going to pop in that RAM now. I'm actually transferring stuff off the hard drive, off the SSD that I'm going to be putting in here. You can maybe hear the fan going on that enclosure. Just making sure, potentially, that my video files don't get destroyed. This is truly going to become my daily driver. I'm actually putting in my 4 terabyte day-to-day SSD in here. So just backing up my videos just in case before I put it in, because you never know. I may have to reinstall Windows. So this looks like good RAM here. It's SK Hynix, basically. About as good as it gets, in my opinion. You're not going to get better than SK Hynix. Doesn't mean other brands are bad, but you're not going to get better than SK Hynix. And that one goes down. You could take this more. You could take this higher if you wanted. I do have 64 gigabyte kits as well. I could put 64, so 32, 32, if I wanted. I don't, but I do have that option. Debating what I want to do here in terms of the connectors. I do want to try this expansion card just as a thing to try. I've never used one of these before. It's basically just a little expansion card, like a framework expansion card, but this one is a 1 terabyte. I think they have I think they have larger. They definitely have 512. I think they also have 2 terabytes. We're definitely going to need a USB-C for charging. Are there any differences here? I don't think there's any difference, but whatever. Yeah, so we'll put a USB-C into the back here. You typically charge on that side of the laptop. We're going to need a USB-A expansion card, or I could put on a second USB-C for like dongle purposes, for also display out. All depends what I want to do. How do I want to do this? I think... So that gives me, it's cool that you can do this, right? Sometimes it's kind of funny in a way when it just works. Things just work. So I installed Windows. You can see I put a new background. What else did I do here? I don't Oh, I just did. Oh, I did the driver updates for AMD. That's all I did. You can see here that that little expansion card is being detected. Very cool. What else we got going on here? So we have our 7840U. Very cool. Awesome, awesome CPU. 32 gigabytes RAM running at full 5600 megahertz because it's AMD. Intel at this time did not support that speed. I put in an SK Hynix. And then you can see here, that's the Framework 1 terabyte SCSI disk device. We'll check how fast that is a little bit later, but it should be good. Wi-Fi, just accepted it, just the AX210. I took it out of the other device, put it in here. I'll pick up another one later and put it in the new framework, the little mini PC that I'm making. And there's my awesome, awesome graphics. Okay, so then now that everything's working, I'm going to do some visual upgrades. Once I'm done that, we'll get into some tests. I'll test out the screen, specifically that little card there. I'll just test stuff out in general, see how the temperatures are, the performances on that CPU. So we have options here. We have bezel number 1, purple, which is probably going to go on, but I'm not sure yet. We have gray, which is my second option. And then I went with an aggressive orange. I actually asked them which ones I could get. Orange. And then the reason is we have this dbrand stuff over here. So I got the see-through one, a nice light gray see-through. Very cool. And then I got the 2 orange ones here. Very nice. So that's the top and the bottom, basically. That's the lid there, right? Yeah, that's the lid. This is the bottom and the palm rest. Okay, so I think for the sake of YouTube, I'm going to go with Edgy Fire Flame, which is cool. I'd also like to point out that I don't normally like the color orange. It's not really my thing. I am much more of a pastel color person. So it's magnetized, so you just... We can do gray later, I guess. Later on I can go gray and do the X-ray one if I get tired of the orange. I think the orange lava will look nice though. I mean, I picked it. Just like that. It's so freaking cool that you can just do this. Like, thank you, Framework, for doing cool stuff. Do I like that? I'm not sure. Let's bring in the... I mean, I actually do. Do I like it more than this would be the proper question. Ooh, that does kind of change things. Like, that's really nice, that light white. The dark one. Oh, man, I have so many options now. Choice paralysis decision. Okay, another option. This is the lighter one. I didn't actually get the deck. I don't remember why. Maybe I just didn't want it. But the X-ray thing looks cool. I went with the dark X-ray, which looks really neat because you actually get the lighter here and then you get that dark kind of bezel. That looks pretty cool. And the feeling of that's fine. And I went with the light bezel there, which gives it a very sleek look rather than black. And then I went with the dark X-ray on the top, dark X-ray on the bottom. I still have no idea which one I prefer. Okay, there's the lava one. That looks lovely, to be honest. Bottom looks good. A little bit of gray. A little bit of gray. It'd be nice if the dbrand went over there, but it's fine. Right? It looks cool though with the gray. Actually, it looks nice. The contrast looks good. And then the bottom, and then when you open it up, looks good. The orange bezel is a little intense for me, I think. You can always go to black. Give it a little bit more muted. Right, that would give you the black style. Okay, so let's turn my old main board into a mini PC. This is where this becomes really cool because you're not taking and creating e-waste by upgrading your laptop, right? You borrow what you needed from the laptop as a shell. You borrow the screen, whatever, right? You borrow these things, whatever it is that you want to borrow. Yeah, so it's got a laptop style shell where it has the screws and clippies. So how does that work? Does that just sit there? I guess so, right? Like it just kind of sits there and then, the piece will sit on there and support it and you get your USB-Cs through there. Okay, and there we go. It's actually very aesthetic. Has some fingerprints on it because my hands are thermal paste. Look how pretty that is. Okay, so there we go. It's set up now. I'm going to leave the, I put it back to the red. I'm going to leave the lava off the inside here just so you guys can see what it's like at stock. And then maybe at one point I'll switch it in, but just for looking at the initial body. It's a really nice laptop. It's metal on the lid, which now has skin on it, but it's all metal. Metal on the bottom, again, has a skin on it. It's all metal though. And a metal keyboard deck there. So you don't get any keyboard flex. It's a very sturdy feeling laptop. There's really no, chassis flex or anything like that. I have the white bezel here, the gray bezel comes with a black bezel normally, which is whatever, you decide how you want to go. And then the black keys there. The black contrast's nice because you get black and it kind of, the screen is not as distracting. And then you get the black keys here. So it gives you that nice kind of pop there. I'll probably keep this gray on here, but you could easily put the black back on. It's up to you. Nice little power button there. Full-size keyboard here, chiclet style keyboard, trackpad there. Let's do a quick typing test. Yes, it's a really nice keyboard. It's a chiclet style keyboard, kind of the same style as a Mac. However, the keycaps themselves are larger, like they're physically taller, and there's a lot of travel, right? A lot of travel, and it's snappy. So it's actually a really nice keyboard to type on. It's not going to beat out like some of the nicest Lenovo stuff around. But I mean, other than the fact that it's slightly below that, I would give this a very high rating. It's an exceptionally nice keyboard there. Trackpad is also very nice. This is the metal chassis here, and then this has a glass covered trackpad or some type of clear material, probably a glass covered trackpad to be honest. Feels very nice, and the click is really nice. Yeah, so overall, kind of inputting to the laptop is exceptionally nice. I really enjoy it. So the screen itself, it's not a high refresh, unfortunately. So, you're not going to get, super high refresh rate or anything like that. It is a nice resolution. The screen itself is an interesting screen ratio. They call that the golden resolution. So you lose a little bit of width, right? You lose a little bit of width. So like a 16 by 9 would be really tall and also really, really short. I don't like 16 by 9 screens unless it's a big screen, like a monitor. But on a laptop, I don't like it at all. So you can come here, that's be a 16 by 9 there. 16 by 10 would be slightly shorter, but also a little bit wider there. So you get even more height, same as a MacBook. You get even more height there and you lose a little bit of width. So it does take away a little bit if you're doing panel by panel multitasking. If you have like, you want a full giant thing over here, full giant thing over here, that's the one downside. However, for single like screen image, if you're writing or something, it's fantastic. And here's the other thing too, it's a fine resolution screen, basically close to a 1600p, just shy of that. So very high resolution screen for being 13-inch. You don't get a high refresh rate, right? You get 60 or 48, whatever. When you plug it in, it's the same thing. So it's not like you get high refresh rate on it. Unfortunately, that's the only one negative, I would say. But wait, there's more. At the time of recording that earlier part, which is quite a while ago, there was not this option, but now there is in July and August, there's a brand new screen option. So we have the 13-inch model here, and you can see here that now we have a 2.K screen for the resolution, so even higher resolution. And it's also 120 hertz, which is fantastic. You're going to get a higher refresh rate, and it's a matte display. So if some people don't like the glossiness of the original one here, so they could have went with the matte one. So for this new one here, you're going to get a higher resolution. Technically, it's going to be matte, so some people may like that. And you also are going to get 120 hertz refresh rate. So big upgrade for some people who are interested in that. It's not 100% DCI-P mini LED or anything like that. It is an IPS screen. However, it's a glossy IPS screen, so it's less reflective to me. The camera always exaggerates it. Like if I go like that, that's probably more what I see right there. But the glossy does actually improve the colors. If you are looking at it, it does make it look nicer. So this is 100% sRGB. The reds look a little bit muted. Maybe on camera it's not going to show. It's a little bit not so red into the 100% DCI-P. It's a tiny bit of like a pink kind of thing. It won't show up on camera, but I can tell right off the bat, it's not 100% DCI-P. And usually you can notice that in the reds, right? Come through here. The blacks are fantastic, right? It's almost like OLED level. It's not an OLED, by the way, but it's almost OLED level because the black is shockingly good. Like it's legitimately shockingly good. These blacks here, it's pretty much as good as you would want to get out of a panel like this. It's really, really nice. Not the brightest screen in the world. It's not the, the best color space, but it's good color space. That sRGB color space is good. Because it's also a glossy screen, it really does pop. So, I mean, even coming from an OLED, like a super high 100% DCI-P OLED, I can notice when I come to this, but it's not shocking. It's not like, I'm going to some crappy business screen where I'm going to immediately notice that the colors look muted and everything looks like crap. Okay, we'll do an audio test now. These actually have decent speakers. Again, they're not MacBook Pro level speakers, but they're pretty good. They're whoosh. It's really loud. extremely loud. All right, I'm gonna turn it down. It gets almost to like 90 dB. That's very loud. For a thin laptop like this, Windows, excellent, excellent speakers. Tons of low-end bass for how thin the chassis is, like actually noticeably low-end bass. Mid-range bass is there. High-end is there. The high-end's almost maybe a little too sharp. I might actually go into like FX Sound or something and bring down the high-end just a touch there because they're such loud speakers. These might be the loudest speakers I've ever tested on a laptop, maybe. Okay, so I went back to the Flaming Fist. Yeah, let's go like this here. We'll run some Cinebench. Just want to check the noise. We'll get the scores in the benchmark section after. 7840U is a very capable CPU. It's not as high wattage as the 7840HS. Fundamentally very similar chips, but it's not going to be as high watts. Like it's completely off. And it's not throttling? What? I mean, I know this 7840U is an efficient chip, but there it goes. Holy smokes. That did a whole freaking run before the... Yeah, and the score is like reasonably good for a 7840U. Holy smoke. That did a full run of Cinebench for a minute before it hit up to like 90-ish degrees and the fan turned on. Okay, well there you go. If you're going to do short burst processing. I mean, I did put on PTM 7950 Honeywell, which does also help, but whatever. That's shockingly good. Now the fans are on. It's at, normal Ultrabook level 40 to 45 dB. Just a quick look at some benchmarks here. You can see that the original score on the 11th gen was reasonably okay. You can see that we're getting around 5,400 on Cinebench here. Then I did two screenshots here from the upgrade to AMD. The first is just kind of the burst mode, just going through the first iteration. You can see we got around 13,700, and then I let the test finish and it got about the same, 13,620. So realistically, it's a huge upgrade in scores going from that 11th gen up to the 7000 series, giving it very competitive performance on this framework laptop now. Very, very good. Battery life is also quite good on this laptop. It's not the biggest battery. There's also two options. This is the smaller of the two batteries, and you can see here that at about 95%, this is 100% brightness, just kind of idling, hanging out, doing some very casual stuff. You can see here that we're at about 6.4 watts drawed or so, 6.8 on average, which is still going to give you about 6 or 7 hours on this laptop, despite the fact that it's a relatively small battery. Very good. And then you can see here that I did some YouTube, 1080p YouTube, just basically watched for a few minutes, just let it hang out or whatever. I think I did maybe 5 or 6 minutes of YouTube here. And you can see here that the wattage went up, but only a little bit. We're sitting at about 7.8 on average here. So again, you're still going to get around 6, maybe 6.5 hours of general use on this laptop, unless you're doing something like video editing. One of the reasons I upgraded this machine to AMD, outside of the fact that it improved battery life and dramatically improves processing, is that it turns it into a full-blown gaming machine. This processor is the exact same processor that's inside the ROG Ally, the ROG Ally Refresh, and the Lenovo Legion Go. It's also massively more powerful than what's in a Steam Deck, and arguably more powerful than what's in an MSI Claw as well. This here is the 7840U with the 780M graphics. It's a gaming machine. This is a gaming laptop. Despite the fact that it's a thin and light laptop with no dedicated graphics, it is a full-blown gaming machine. This resolution on the screen is pretty high. You can see here, we'll come back and you can see this is not a 1080p. This is 1500. So it's hard to kind of do the ratios here, but it's probably a slightly under 1440p. And we're on medium in Baldur's Gate. I did have to throw in performance FSR because again, we're at a very high resolution, obviously. And you can see here, you're getting 40 FPS here in this game. This is medium again, not low. It's a very demanding title, specifically for iGPUs. That's one of the reasons that I play this game when I do my tests, because it's testing, because it's perfect for testing. So anything you can play on an ROG Ally or Lenovo Legion Go or MSI Claw, you're going to be able to play on this with the same performance, right? You can see they're hitting 30 watts there. It's the same performance as those devices there. So let's come in here. We're going to go 16:9. Like that's going to be stretched weirdly, but that's fine. I'll just go like that there. That should look pretty good. Borderless window, 1080p. So what can you get with 1080p? Well, I mean, like I said, it's a higher resolution screen. So once you drop it to 1080p, which if you're fine with that, look at the frame rate. Now we're up at 60, right? Which is the highest this can go on the screen. I could turn off VSync here. Turn that off. Let's see what we're actually getting here at 1080p. Look at that, 60 like pretty much locked. The lows of 31 at 1080p, right? Awesome, awesome performance. We can turn down the FSR as a result. We're not going to need performance, not by a mile. Balance should be good here. Well, should be at like 50 or so still, 55. Yeah, still almost at 60. So look at that. Right? You can throw it even lower if you need to be, right? So you can play on the native resolution, which is quite literally this resolution basically, but you're going to get some more pixels there. So you can see there's more data being rendered. But here as it is right now, I guess you could play at 1080p if you really want more frames, right? Just play like that. But I actually do really like just, honestly, just playing at the higher resolution there. We're buying things like the ROG Ally, the Legion Go, and they're full-blown gaming handhelds, which is the same for this. It's a full-blown gaming laptop for resolutions like 1080p with kind of mixed settings. So, this thing started off as a little 11th gen thing that really wouldn't have been able to play much. And, I tossed an AMD and now I have a gaming computer. Like, why would I buy an ROG Ally or something like that, right? I mean, it's nice to have the handheld, but this is going to do the exact same thing. All right, and there we go. Look at that. That's a mini PC. Right? All that I had to do was buy this Cooler Master case, which I don't think, I can't remember which it was. It wasn't expensive. It was honestly, it was like $30 or $35 or something like that. I can't remember. I got some extra ports because I want to keep my ports. So, I mean, you're able to turn a mini PC into a full-blown desktop, just like a normal mini PC, that you just buy aftermarket. So you're not wasting this product. And this, I mean, it's great, right? Like, it's a fully blown system here, right? Just got myself a little Bluetooth keyboard here. I opted for a wired 2.4 gigahertz mouse, but honestly with this I would just use a Bluetooth thing, and there you go. Right now I have a full-blown computer here, mini PC, which, to be honest, I mean, for day-to-day stuff it's more than enough. Like, it's still an 1135 G7. It's not a weak processor, right? And you can get these mini PCs like from here with higher end i7s. You can get them with 12th gen Intel, and then eventually when I'm done with the AMD over here, like, that'll be sweet, because then I'll be turning my AMD one here into like an actual gaming computer. People pay big money for the chip in here on mini PCs. They're like $800, $900 for a mini PC with a 7840U in it, like, legitimately, because it's such a capable gaming processor, such a capable gaming chip that, people pay for it. So, I mean, yeah, down the road, maybe I can take out the Intel, give it to someone else. Awesome. I mean, every part of this is fantastic, realistically. So, I can have a lot of thoughts on the Framework laptop here, and I can say that because, again, I've been using this as a daily driver for approximately 5 months, maybe a little bit longer. What do I think of it? It's outstanding. This is the stock model. This is the original 11th gen chassis. I picked up used off someone for an incredibly good price, 600 Canadian dollars, which is kind of crazy. And then I just picked up some extra ports from Framework, which were not super expensive. Like, I picked up a display port in case I needed it. I did get that expansion card, which is that one there. So I have that 1 terabyte expansion card in there. I picked up the skins from Dbrand, which allowed me to customize it as well. Got the new motherboard in here as well, the AMD motherboard. So I decked this out with, now what I would consider an incredibly modern, capable machine, obviously, because it is. That does have the original screen, the 11th gen original screen, but now I can upgrade that to the 120 hertz, which I might do, actually. Right? This is the whole concept of it. I also got a mini PC out of it, which is fantastic. Being able to get a fully functional mini PC. I've been messing with this for several days, obviously. So I have a mini PC out of it. It's not like I took that main board out and threw it in the garbage. I literally made a second, very capable mini PC out of that. So, I mean, yeah, just such a freaking cool idea, right? Like, simply put, it's a freaking cool idea. And the other thing is, yes, you do have a little bit more buying cost than buying some like on sale clearance laptop, potentially. But those machines it is what it is, right? It is what it is. If you want to upgrade it, what do you mean upgrade? You're not upgrading your thing. Maybe you can put in some more RAM if it's not soldered. You're not upgrading the screen. You're not upgrading the CPU and the main board, right? You're not if you buy yourself a disposable laptop, just a generic laptop, you're not upgrading the screen. You're not going to be swapping out things like the keyboard and that and customizing the actual bezels. Like, yeah, you can get skins like Dbrand for lots of different laptops, which is sweet. But you're not like customizing the actual bezels and the keyboards themselves. Like, you're not taking out this black keyboard and putting in the clear one on some other laptop, because it is what it is. These guys want you to buy the laptop, and yeah, you do pay a little bit more up front. Honestly, you will pay a little bit more up front. It's not crazy, but you will pay a little bit more up front. But then you're in the ecosystem, right? You're upgrading for like a few dollars here, $20 here. Upgrade the main board. You're gonna pay 1/3 of what it would cost to buy a whole new laptop. Oh, they have a brand new 120 hertz screen on this thing. I don't have to buy a whole new laptop. I just buy the screen and put it in. It doesn't even take that much time. So this is an ingenious idea. I think that more people should be behind this, honestly. This is where the future should be. I'm not saying that it is going to be, I don't know, because people, people want to spend less money now. They're not necessarily looking for the future, but I think this is where the future should be, right? Not for every product, but I think a lot of people should be looking at products like this, especially people with even just like the minor amount of tech savviness who are just saying, you know what, I don't want to buy a product and then just have to throw it out after a year or two. I just want to upgrade it, right? And if something breaks, let's say the keyboard breaks on this, right? I don't have to buy a whole new laptop. I just put a new keyboard in, or maybe I just get bored of something here. Like maybe I want the see-through keyboard, right? Maybe the screen is fine, the 60 hertz screen, but I want the 120 hertz screen. Then buy it. That's the product there. I think you guys should actually start to look into these products here. Again, I'm using this for 6 months as a daily driver. See if you can pick up a used one, right? Go on your local marketplace, Facebook, eBay, Craigslist, Kijiji, wherever, I don't know where you are. See if you can find a used one, worst case, right? Buy into that. These guys actually have clearance items. They have refurbs and clearance on older generations too, like an 11th gen Intel. 11th gen Intel is still usable, right? It's not like it's just a useless product. And it's not like it's just going to be like a Windows browsing machine. Like you can do video editing and demanding tasks on 11th gen Intel. So you could buy into that for a pretty low cost actually on their website. They're really not that expensive. Use it for maybe another year or so, maybe another 2 years, whatever you need for it. And then you say, all right, I think it's time now to upgrade. Get yourself whatever the new hotness is that they have, 9000 series AMD or whatever, or maybe, this 7000 series AMD is now on clearance because it will be. Then you can pick up this instead for a low cost, right? It's just such a fascinating idea here. And then, you're not just throwing out stuff. You're creating yourself a mini PC or something like that. Yeah, it's that good. It's good enough that I've had it for months and months and months and months and months, and I just keep using it all the time, and I've upgraded it and I keep playing with it, but I decided today that my lazy ass just needs to finish the video and publish it because I'm going to keep using it anyways. So, get the video out there and just tell people how amazing these products are and how much of a good idea it is to buy into something like this, potentially even at a lower cost right now. Get a clearance one, and then you're locked into the ecosystem, and your subsequent upgrades can save you a ton of money. Plus, it's just fun, right? It's just fun to tinker with stuff like this, being able to tweak your laptop as you go and not spending an absolute fortune when you do it. So that's the Framework 13. I hope that in the future I can bring in a Framework 16 because then I get access to a real dedicated GPU. Not that the AMD one here is a slouch. I've been gaming on this thing for months. But yeah, it'd be cool to just try Framework 16. But yeah, thanks to Framework for sending over the main board. Thanks to me for buying the laptop and all the upgrades. And I don't know, thanks to dbrand for selling me the skin. I bought it. Cool. Awesome laptop. You should buy one probably. Maybe. I think you should actually.